Right. So this is the process of emission. So now in this session we have gone for the two important terms called as absorption and emission. So now I advance the topic to what is a stimulated. What is a stimulated emission? Right. If you know the word stimulated emission, then the laser term will be very easy. So before knowing the word stimulated, then there is another word called as a spontaneous. These two words are opposite to each other. Let me go for an explanation of the contradiction or how the words are classified. Or spontaneous means occurs by itself without any external agency, without any external source or without external agency or without any external source. Stimulated means which occurs by some external source, So this is spontaneous. Let me go for an example. There will be some students who do their assignments or who do their homework spontaneously by their influence of parents or by the influence of their faculty. Nobody influence, automatically they do their homework. And the stimulated is a process where they require some stimulation by their parents or by their faculty or by any person who stimulates them. So this is a simple example where I can quote the spontaneous word occurs by itself. It's a process by which it occurs with the without the help of external source or external energy or external aid. And this stimulated is a process which occurs by external source or by external energy. So before going into the stimulated emission, so there are three processes. So the main heading, I'll write it as a spontaneous and a stimulated processes. So in the first step, let me introduce the word called as a spontaneous, or in the first step for the laser action, or for the laser to come out, or for the laser energy to emit it out, there are three processes. The first step is a stimulated absorption. And after that there is another process called as a spontaneous emission. And after the spontaneous emission, the last final step or the final word, keyword for our laser is stimulated absorption, stimulated emission. If we are clear with these stimulated absorption and spontaneous emission, then we will be clearly understanding the concept of stimulated emission, which is a keyword for the laser, right? The stimulated emission అర్థమైతేనే మనకి లేజర్ అనేది అర్థమైంది. సో ఇది అర్థం కావాలి అంటే in order to know or in order to get the background for the stimulated emission, there is a huge background called as stimulated absorption and spontaneous emission. Alright, let me go for what is the first one is stimulated absorption. And as you know, in general there will be a large number of atoms in the ground energy level. So ground energy level, there will be large number of atoms. So you know why the atoms occupy the ground energy level, because in the ground energy level the atoms acquire a stability which is a key parameter for any solid or any molecule. So these are the ground energy level atoms which will be residing in the ground energy level. So now in order to excite them from a ground energy level to higher energy level, ground energy level atoms ni higher energy level loki excite cheyali ante, then I will supply an external energy like photon. This is external energy H. And this external energy I am giving, I am stimulating, I am enforcing them. So therefore the word stimulated. This is not occurring by itself. I am supplying the external energy. We are supplying the external energy like a photon He. And as the external energy is supplied by an external source like me or like you, hence the name stimulated, right? These photons will be absorbed by these ground level atoms and they will be excited to higher energy level. So higher energy level excited. So this is a, as this is a process of, this process known as absorption. Absorbing energy and exciting from ground energy level to higher energy level is known as absorption. Then why I had added an extra word stimulated? Because this is done with the help of external energy. So this HNU is known as external energy. Hence the name as stimulated absorption. Alright. Then coming to the spontaneous emission. Continuity of the topic. So this is the ground energy level. So this is the higher energy level. And the atoms will be resided here. And these will be residing for a span of 10 power minus 8 second, which is known as lifetime, right? So this is 10 power minus 8 second is known as lifetime. And after 10 power minus 8 second, nobody will be influencing these atoms to jump back or to de-excite to the ground energy level. This happens, they will be de-excited to ground energy level. This will be de-excited to ground energy level by emitting the photon, what we had supplied. This is a photon H, if you look at it. So this will be de-excited to a ground energy level. So this is the ground energy level. So this happened. This process is known as emission, as it is emitting by jumping from higher energy level to lower energy level, that is a ground energy level. This process is known as emission. Then why the extra word spontaneous emission? Because this happened naturally, automatically, without the help of any external agency or external source or external person like me or you. So this happened automatically. As it is happened automatically, hence the word spontaneous emission. Alright. So stimulated emission is what we have supplied, what we have given external energy, the ground energy level atoms absorbed and excited to higher energy level. As it is absorbing by an external energy, therefore this is known as a stimulated absorption. And after the absorption and after 10 power minus 8 second, so that is the lifetime of their atoms, lifetime of the atoms in the higher energy level. You know, a clear understanding, lifetime. Or atoms ఎంతసేపు ఉంటాయి అని చెప్పి డిసైడ్ చేసే టైంని లైఫ్ టైం అంటాం. ఎక్కడ? హయ్యర్ ఎనర్జీ లెవెల్లో. దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ హయ్యర్ ఎనర్జీ లెవెల్. సో 10 power minus 8 second, nobody will be influencing these atoms. They automatically jump to the ground energy level. As this process is done by itself, therefore it is known as a spontaneous emission. By de-exciting, it is giving some extra energy and it is emitting energy, therefore this is known as emission, and as it is occurring naturally, therefore it is known as spontaneous emission. Now coming to the important term and important process called as the third step, called as stimulated emission, which is a key word for the laser, right? Laser action. So there are some solids or there are some materials in which after excitation also, so this is the step, they will be residing, and after 10 power minus 8 second, after also the atoms will be residing in the higher energy level only. So this is a higher energy level. This is a ground energy level. The atoms, so we are waiting. After 10 power minus, it has taken 10 power minus 8 second. It is not coming back. 10 power minus 6 second, minus 3 second. So the atoms are not de-excited to the ground energy level. There will be some solids or there will be some materials. There the atoms will be residing only in higher energy level only. In this situation, then I will supply an external photon. I am supplying an external photon h nu. As I am supplying external photon, hence the word stimulated. So if you look at, so therefore, as I am supplying this external photon, this photon now directly undergoes an interaction with the higher energy level atoms, and that interaction is a purely an elastic collision. Elastic collision means there is no loss of energy. Like when it is a process where two elastic balls or two rubber balls are colliding, where there will be no loss of energy. Here the higher energy atom is in the higher energy level, and I am supplying the photon. This external photon interacts with this atom like with an elastic collision, and as this is a purely an elastic collision, this atoms, higher energy level atoms, jumps back to or de-excite to a ground energy level atom, like this. This will be a de-excite. While de-exciting from higher energy level to lower energy level, so already we are discussed in the process of emission లో already discuss చేసాం. ఎప్పుడైనా higher energy level నుంచి lower energy level కి వచ్చేటప్పుడు, okay, when this atom is de-exciting from higher energy level atom to lower energy level atom, it emits a photon H and another photon H. Now you look at, while introducing the term laser light amplification, right? So why the word amplification, why the word multiplication I had uttered? So here you can clearly notify, right? This atom is de-exciting from higher energy level to lower energy level. In this process it emits a photon. But what happened to the external photon? This is not absorbed by this atom. This interaction, this photon, which I indicated with the blue ink, and this photon and this atom interaction is a purely an elastic collision. There is no absorption. Therefore, this automatically follows this photon as it is not absorbed. So this is a photon what I had centered, and if I name it, this is a photon 1, and the atom, as a result of this elastic collision, the atom which has de-excited from higher energy level to lower energy is 2. So please follow here. This is an important keyword or a key concept in this stimulated process. I had introduced an external photon h nu, and I had named it 1, and this photon interacts with the higher energy level atom, and this interaction is a pure and elastic collision, as there is no loss of energy by absorption. So therefore this atom jumps to higher energy level by emitting a photon 2, and now this photon, when what I had sent it, what I had supplied it, and this photon 2, due to de-excitation, will be in phase, means they will be similar, and these two photons interacts with these two atoms, and these two photons interacting with two atoms. Then what is the output is, now we will be getting, so this is a photon 2, this is photon 3, and say this is photon 4, and what I had sent is photon 1. You see, 1 is becoming 2 photons, and this 2 is becoming 4 photons, and these 4 photons interacts with the higher energy level atoms with like 4 atoms, and the output will be automatically, this is doubled or multiplied like this. So this is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 7, and so another photon 8, and what I have sent is, this is photon 1. Now you see, 1 is becoming 2 photons, these 2 photons are becoming 4 photons, and these 4 photons are becoming 8. Here the photon number, that is light, is multiplied. That multiplied word is known as amplification. By which process? Stimulated absorption process? No. By spontaneous emission? No. By a process called as stimulated emission. And as the photon number is very large, this gives rise to a huge radiation. Hence the name light, that is light, is amplified, that is multiplied by a process called stimulated emission and it is radiated in all possible directions. Hence the word laser, that is the important concept or important background or important introduction for the word laser.